Over the years, trade or labour unions have helped bring in things like a minimum wage, rules about safety, and 8-hour workdays. Unions have also fought so workers can get lunch breaks, time off if they're sick, and maternity leave. And they've helped set rules to make sure companies can't make kids work, can't discriminate against anyone, and have to pay women as much as men.
Equal pay now! Equal pay now!
Introduction. Trade dispute. Trade dispute is any dispute between an employer and his workmen which is connected with their employment or non-employment or the terms of employment or the conditions of work of any such workman. Grievance. Defined as a formal complaint by an employee towards an employer in workplace. How trade dispute occurs. An individual who has a grievance is represented by his union and who has exhausted the grievance procedure without getting a satisfactory result. Okay, let's move to issue number 1. Interest-based conflicts. Okay, number 1 is profound effect. Conflicts can have a profound effect on how an employee performs at work. Okay, second is conflicts of interest. Conflict of interest can cause one party to doubt the intentions of the other. For example, nepotism. Nepotism is the workplace happens when a leader in an organization utilizes their position of power. Number 3 is gift issuing. It's when someone in a company take presents from a client, vendor, or any individual with them. Lastly, if self-dealing, when an individual in a financial role at an organization utilities in a financial role at and or access to funds benefits.
Thank you, Ms. Fatin. Next, I will explaining about emotion-based conflict in organization and how emotion can affect organization. Emotion-based conflict refer to conflict that arise from emotional reaction rather than from a disagreement over fact or logical arguments. It is caused by miscommunication whereby the issues between both parties are not being communicated properly that lead to conflict. Conflict arises mostly because of anger, fear, jealousy, or hurt. This shows that in workplace, harassment that include threats, rumors, and jokes that are offensive may have an effect on mental health and emotional wellness. This problem can destroy the sense of harmony and also reduce employee morale and eventually decrease productivity, which will affect organization operation and its performance. In a positive note, conflict at organization not always negative. Conflict that are handled in a healthy way will lead to growth for everyone that involved. Willingness to address conflict, acknowledge and understand the sources often prevents small dispute becoming a larger problem that may harm morale. I can conclude that emotion is a significant factor to be considered that can give a huge impact in the workplace.
Thank you, Faza. Hello everyone, what exactly is principles of industrial relations? Honestly, the phrase industrial relations has many definitions. In the simplest terms, it is the relationship that exists between employees and the employers within the workplace. Trade unions are also involved in the relationship. Hence, the relationships are between employers and unionized as well as non-unionized employees. For the purpose of this study, we like to highlight the characteristics that comprise the principles of dispute resolution that relates to our study. First is affiliate. We must communicate that we are not a threat to the individual and wish to work with them to find a best solution to the problem. Next is empathize. Essentially, it is putting yourself in someone else's position and feeling what they are feeling. One golden rule here that only once we are both confident that we comprehend not only the perspective but also its significance to the other person may we express our thoughts. Last but not least is being engaged. If the world said that fear is built upon engagement, we could confront it with courage-building exercises, include picturing ourselves having a conversation with the other person about the topic before engaging in it. The fact that previously described basic characteristics are capable of forming an effective principle and reducing the occurrence of trade disputes.
Let us continue our discussion on emotions-based conflict resolution. Conflicts will occur even in the most solid workplaces. For management part, they have to provide mediation or facilitation to employee. Prior to scheduling the joint mediation session, a pre-mediation individual session is generally scheduled with each party in the dispute. The primary difference is that the facilitator is more likely to involve the parties in the making decisions about the content, including the development of ground rules and agenda. Such meetings often help clarify misunderstandings and work expectations and helps to foster positive interactions. Second is managers' part in handling such emotion conflict in the workplace. Managers need to address the conflict first and demonstrate their emotional intelligence in order to be successful at helping their colleagues through conflict situation, include making substantial, noticeable changes with the insight gained from employee feedback. This is especially true when emotions are high, as one way to de-escalate conflict with emotional distress is to validate with words and actions. Show your employees that you hear them and that you want to remove any unnecessary stress. In order for things to function, employees must also play a significant role. They must give themselves an out, a break that allows them to take a walk to cool down, to call a friend or colleague for reinforcement. In addition, respectful engagement among colleagues signals acceptance and genuine mutual interest in one another, which develops a greater capacity for deeper and more nuanced information processing about work. In the meantime, employees need to mentally stop to lower their emotional temperature. As helpful as it is to face problems head-on, putting things off is sometimes a smart strategy.
Thank you, Ms. Daya. Now, let's figure out on solving of interest-based conflict at the workplace. To begin with, we should comprehend the power of the right tone. As far as we are concerned, an organization can create ethical culture and develop trust among workers with the right tone of communication. Let me illustrate this point further. The top management in a company must deliver a clear policy along with a complete constitution to prevent any wrongdoing and protect on those who are willing to report on this misconduct. Besides that, we may overcome this problem by utilizing the uniqueness of leaders' knowledge and experience. A competent leader should have extensive knowledge and experience while dealing with any misconduct or any complaint presented by each employee. Naturally, the leader needs to show a great personality as an example to his subordinate. That will conclude on how we solve interest-based conflict. So, we are arriving in the last chapter of this presentation. Honestly, conflicts are unavoidable within our organization. However, we can implement some appropriate measure to prevent this matter from causing trade dispute. We learn from this study that whether employee or employer play a crucial role and should be tolerant of one another while working. As my final word today, please work as best as you can and avoid any chance of trade dispute for the greater good of our country. Long live Malaysia!